It's been 1 week since I moved to Craiova, Romania. Here's my first time cooking anything in Romania, so you're gonna judge a little bit. It's totally fine. I'm a normal, average person who is not a culinary expert, and I am cooking my own food for both myself and my husband, so all the disclaimers of people in the comment section, they're not needed. Yes, I washed my hands. I'm not a freak. I know how to clean. Let's get to the good stuff. So today I'm trying to make a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. I figure, why not start making something simple before I mess up something that'd be really big, right? I made a lot of mistakes in this video. You can feel free to point them out. Please give me tips. I am not a culinary expert, like I said, but this is where we're starting. So had a pan, I heated it up, I started with some bacon. Now, I'm not sure what kind of pan this is, honestly, but I was trying this out, and before I forget, these are the peppers. I'm doing peppers as my main side instead of chips, whereas like my husband, he just won't eat a bunch of these. I know he's gonna prefer chips, so I'm gonna give him a couple. I'm gonna eat the most of them, and that's just gonna be that. Okay, getting back to the good stuff. So the bacon, I wasn't really too sure if I should oil the pan or not, because, you know, in America, you don't really need to oil the pan a whole lot. You just put the bacon on and the grease, you know, it does its thing. So I tried it this time without the oil. I don't think it was the way to go, but it's fine. You can tell me about your opinions later. Okay, then here's the peppers. So I'm cutting them up, and I had to stop because I realized that the bacon was not exactly cooking as it does back home in America. It just kind of wasn't cooking right. I don't know how to explain it, but I've cooked bacon numerous times, and this didn't quite work out. No, it didn't. I couldn't tell if it was cooking too long or not enough. I was struggling with the bacon, okay? But here we are back in peppers. So, you know, I'm gutting them, and I am cutting them, and I am making them to where I can dip these in cream cheese. That's what I'm planning to do with them. That's just my preference, you know, you do you. And of course, like I said, I'm gonna give my husband a couple of them, see if he'll eat them. Of course, he will, and he did, just so you know. But yeah, the bacon just was not doing right, and I don't know if you have any tips about this. I mean, European bacon, is it really any different than American bacon? I just don't know what happened here. So I basically just decided that whenever I got finished with the bacon and I was taking it off the plate, I just decided that I would take the undercooked bacon and just risk it. I wasn't really sure if there was such thing as undercooked bacon. I don't know if European bacon is any different, honestly. I need some input on this, but regardless, some people eat limpy bacon. It just is what it is, right? So I ate it, I survived, I'm here, right? So I'll report back if I die, you'll see it. So my husband and I give him the more cooked bacon just to be safe, and he says it tastes fine. I thought it tasted fine, so hopefully, you know, nothing was too bad. So you saw on this pan, there was some grease left behind, so I decided let's just try how I would back home. I would usually use the bacon grease to then cook the eggs. That's how I do it, you might do it. So I added the eggs on, and this went well. Okay, I would say the eggs turned out kind of like I wanted them to be. Now, I realized, though, when I started cooking them, I did not have a lid to this pan, so I couldn't cover it to get the tops to do what I wanted. So then I had to quickly decide to flip them. I still wanted it to be a runny egg. I like runny eggs. That's okay if you don't. I like any kind of egg, honestly. Sunny side up, doesn't really matter. But since I couldn't use the lid like I had planned to, since there wasn't one, I just decided to make do with what I could do and, you know, flip them, and that was that. Again, I didn't really know of any other way to do this because I'm limited to what I'm using right now. But I decided that I was gonna go ahead and butter the pan while I let the eggs finish because I was gonna add on the bread to make toast. You're probably thinking, oh, well, why are you just not using a toaster? Well, it's because we don't have a toaster at the moment. Yes, I could put it in the, you know, oven, but no. Yes, we're limited on the things we have, but we're making do with it, and there's no need to complain about it, right? You're not living my life. I'm the one here living it, eating it, cooking it. So hey, mind your business on that part. Okay, so this is where I'm trying to start toasting it. Now, again, I'm not an expert on this. Again, I usually back at home use a toaster, but since I don't have one, this is what I was going with. So any thoughts or advice on how to toast bread on a pan, let me know, because I was a little confused on this. Again, not a culinary expert. Okay, so I decided I was gonna go for this cheddar that we have bought. I have seen this before in America, so I'm sure some of you might be familiar. This is where I struggled, okay? I big time struggled. And of course, I cut this by myself. with this knife. And then of course, as soon as I stopped cutting it, I found a cheese slicer. Yes, I did. That's not a proud moment, but you know, whatever. So this is what I was working with. I was just going with it. It just was what it was. Have you ever had those moments where you're like, this will just be what it will be? Okay. So I got back to the bread and I was like, all right, how am I gonna do this? I decided last minute that I was gonna put some oil on the top, right? Because I was like, okay, well, when I flip it, maybe it'll give it some zhuzh or something. So I put some oil on it, and I might have used a little too much oil. I probably did. You can judge that how you want to, but you know, I was just going with it. And honestly, the more flavor, the better, right? Also, in the meantime, I'm gonna show you some items I'm using. So I'm gonna put mustard on my sandwich, mayo on the both a little bit, and then I'm gonna use the cream cheese, of course, for the peppers. Okay, now like, getting back to this part. So the toast was difficult, not gonna lie. Also, that little candy bar, that's what we were gonna try to do for dessert. Just a PSA, it was the most disgusting bar ever. No offense, I hated it. It was the worst. I would never do it again. 0 out of 10, never. So in the pan, again, we got the oil, we had some butter, we had a little bit of the grease, but not much because of the eggs. And then we are flipping it around a little bit, trying to get it crispy and all that good stuff. And I just worked on that for a minute. Like I said, I haven't done this before and this is new to me, but regardless, I'm just trying. I'm making it over here. You know, I am living. And that was just what it was. I could have done better in a lot of aspects on this meal. Again, why did I grab the lid? I don't know. I have no clue. It was one of those like impulsive reactions. I need something to make it flat. Yeah, grab a spatula. Yes, I know. That was not a bright moment. It was just one of those reflective moments where I'm like, why did I do that? Not sure. But I cannot be the only person who is just trying to get through a meal. Like, I'm not a grade A cooker or a cook or whatever it's supposed to be. Okay, I'm not a grade A cook. I'm sort of just here trying to make things work to where it tastes good enough, right? I don't know if there's anybody else like that or if I'm just that weird person, but I'm just trying to make it. Okay, so here's where I start to plate. All right, so mustard, mayo, the whole thing. All right, this is what I decided to do. All right, so here's my husband's plate. So here's the bread. I gave him the less oily pieces of bread because, yeah, that was my fault for overdoing it probably. But he just wanted a little bit of mayo. And when I say little bit. Is this too much to you? I don't know. Little bit. That's what he likes. So you can tell me if this is too little, too much. I don't know. To me, I love mayo. So here's some cheese. I added to it. See, it fit just fine. The egg, I gave him the more done egg. That way it wouldn't be too runny for him. And then, of course, some bacon. And then look at that goo. Oh, so good. Love it. All right, and then I gave him a couple of peppers as I promised. And then, of course, I put the chips on his plate. And I thought that I did a good job with this. And he liked it. He said he did. Okay, then we got so of course I'm gonna use the plate that I was using to put things on because I just don't want to do multiple dishes, right? Even though Will's been helping a lot with the dishes this weekend in general. So here's where I was doing my plate. And of course I'm keeping the peppers. I ended up giving Will the extra bacon and we split the extra cheese that was left over. And then I put some mayo and some mustard on my piece of bread. Again, just a little bit. Is this too little? I don't know, but it tasted great. The mustard tasted fine. I was doing pretty good here. And yes, it did have the same outcome because this was the more runny egg. And I was feeling it. And then here's where I put the cream cheese on plate for the peppers, and I was loving life. Okay, this might not be a dinner to you, this is a dinner to me. So just because it might not work for you, it does not mean it didn't work for me and our situation and our living style. So this was the first meal that I made in Romania, and come back on other days when maybe it'll be better, but it might not be. It might just still be a disaster. Anyway, talk to you guys next time. Bye.